What if tomorrow was your last day on this earth and yesterday was all you have to show for it? Would you be proud of that? Would you have regrets? Regrets are normal. That's perfectly fine. We're all going to have regrets. That's fine. But if the question causes significant pain, like crap, yesterday I worked a job I didn't like. I didn't get paid the money that I wanted to. I didn't get to see my friends and family. I wasn't the version of me that I wanted to be. And that's a continual basis almost every day, Monday through Friday, or however many days I'm working. And that causes you significant pain. I think we can hone in on that. Fun, total nothingness in my workshop this week. After like 8 hours of talking, I think I used the expression "do it like hell" or something like that. And like the hell word sent some people like, you used the hell word. I'm like, come on, man.
Not hell.
Not hell.
Oh no.
Should I have used damnation?
Yes.
Should I use
where
river
the
Styx?
devil lives.
Yeah.
No.
Should I use the devil? Yeah, but no, it didn't happen. Welcome everyone to the Zero Dot Podcast. I'm Sam. This is John. This is Daniel. And boys, it has been a week, hasn't it?
Well, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would very much say so.
One of the weeks of all time, wouldn't we say?
A week. I would say it's been a week. Like I would use both spellings and meanings of the term.
A week. I love a literal joke. W-E-A-K. W-E-E-K. Yes. Very week. Well, you know what? I'm happy to be with you both. It's always nice to kind of re-energize a little bit, especially when it's been one of the weeks of all time. And I thought it'd be a good time to talk about something really good, some great news that happened technically in 2025, but you know what? We're going to celebrate it here in 2026. Folks, I think we can all agree. I don't think this is a hot take. I think this is kind of a cold take, and with all permission to the YouTube overlords who might censor this, and that's totally fine, can we just all agree? Fuck cancer. Just fuck cancer. Cancer is just not good. Cancer is bad. Like, we should just do something about that.
I'd be open to hearing from the pro-cancer community. I don't think they exist historically. But if you're out there, you can let us know. We'll probably like come for you pretty hard. So, heads up. But
absolutely, here at Zero Dot, we don't try to be, say that we're the authorities or the right voices for things, but we feel pretty safely sound that, cancer is one of those things that we should all be for getting rid of as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And, yes. And John, I think you're right. If there's anyone out here who is pro-cancer for whatever reason, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but I do want to forewarn you, I really don't think you're going to be able to convince me, but I'm still curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. I want to warn you, it's on the fucking site. So, if you're pro-cancer, like we can just fucking go. Like, it's been a week. I'm ready to do it. And you gave me a great reason to just like yell at you. So
extremely brave of you to come forward with that, knowing that we will destroy you.
Instantly hostile immediately. Also, like, check yourself, man. Like, when you're like I'm the pro-cancer guy, like, you got to really think, what happened to you? Didn't you used to like be like the fun guy at parties who could do the magic trick with your sleeve? And
I'm a man that will die on many hills. That is not a hill to die on. That is really not. Like, honestly.
I would pause the show briefly to notice that Daniel's a revenant. If he's dying on multiple hills, that's not usually allowed. Usually it's typically the one hill you get. But if he's back, it kind of takes the meaning out of it, actually.
Look, we are multifaceted creatures.
I said I would die on many a hill. Not that I have. Not that I have. That I would.
English.
Yes. Absolutely.
I am.
Hopefully none of my friends are going to die anytime soon. But if you do die on a hill, I hope it's a cozy hill. I hope it's nice. I hope it's got a nice view.
Like the Teletubbies hill. That's a nice hill.
Yeah.
Or Hobbiton.
Yeah, Hobbiton would be a great hill. Yeah.
Can I do a random plug? It's a sloppy plug. It's a bad plug. I love a sloppy
plug.
Okay, here I'm just going to plug it right in. There's a YouTube channel just called like Amazing Benches. And it's shorts, and it just shows you like a bench, and the benches aren't actually that great, and then the camera always pans around, and it's like Niagara Falls or like the Grand Canyon or like a fucking just like manse. Like, it's always incredible. It's very satisfying. I recommend it to you.
So amazing views from benches, but often the benches themselves aren't that great.
No, they're giving the benches credit, which I think is nice. Benches, usually kind of sat on, slept on, thought not about
really
them.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of benches. many a time if I'm in a city and then I see a bench, I will typically sit on it just for a moment just to see where the poise is. And I get lots of comments if I'm traveling with friends like, ew, you know where that bench is dirty, that bench isn't clean, whatever. I'm like, whatever, I've got pants on. It's fine. I'm just sitting here. It's okay.
Have a little sit. Take it all in. Do some people watching. Just hang out.
The trick is the guy before you didn't have pants on. Just a heads up on that. Also, I feel like this episode brought to you by benches. This is the bench episode. So Big Bench, reach out to us. Let us know. We're willing to take an incredibly small payment to keep doing this every episode. So shout out to benches. They're flat.
Shout out to benches. We're brought to you by benches. If you've got a hot take we don't like, we're going to ask you to bench it. Just bench it for us, please. All right? That's the deal.
Cancer guy, you fucking weirdo.
But still, speak your mind from that bench. But if I walk away, don't be offended. Maybe you can be offended. I don't know. I don't care. But anyway, I bring up cancer, this cold hot take of believing that, generally speaking, and by generally I mean 99.99999% of the population would really like to do a punch to big old cancer. And I'm here to say that we punched and we got a win out of it. So T-cell leukemia, often seen as one of the cancers that is thought to be completely incurable, meaning if you have T-cell leukemia and your doctor reports that you have that, they almost always are going to say that your prognosis is terminal. Well, guess what? In late 2025, scientists found a way to cure it. It is now curable. We are on the mend. And instead of me poorly explaining the process, how this all works, I'm going to ask our producer, Daniel, to bring up one of the sources for this context from Dr. Cal, Your Science Pal on YouTube. It's a 3-minute short, and I think it's worthy of exploring at least the most important bits of it so that we can digest it a little bit more further. Because it's good news, folks. It's good news all around.
An incurable form of cancer has just been cured. Using DNA editing. Let's talk about it. T-cell leukemia is an incredibly dangerous form of cancer. It causes T-cells, which form a crucial part of the immune system, to start growing out of control with devastating effects on the body. Now, healthy T-cells have been used in the cancer treatment business for a long time because they can be engineered into CAR T-cells. CAR T-cells have had their DNA databases tweaked to include instructions to make special proteins called chimeric antigen receptors. Like a mythological chimera, which is a mashup of different kinds of animals, a chimeric antigen receptor is a mashup of different kinds of protein machinery, so it can do multiple jobs at once. So one end of this chimeric protein will stick out of the CAR T cell and it will scan for specific chemicals that cancerous cells produce. And then the butt end of that protein sits inside the CAR T cell and it activates it to destroy the target. So it's like a sniffer dog that will alert its handler and then the handler starts giving orders to engage. But because it's a chimera, the dog and the handler are fused into some sort of dog man. There's literally a film about this. But using CAR T cells for T-cell leukemia is really difficult because if you engineer T cells to start going after other T cells, you're going to have a lot of friendly fire unless you genetically engineer your CAR T cells to not recognize each other as T cells. So there's this one protein that these cancerous T cells pretty consistently make. So that's a good target to engineer your CAR T cells to recognize. But in addition to programming them to recognize that target protein, scientists also went into the CAR T cell's own DNA and switched off the gene that serves as instructions to make that protein themselves. So the resulting CAR T cells won't recognize each other as a threat. It's like training your sniffer dog to ignore the scent of other sniffer dogs. 2 other tweaks were made. One of them makes these CAR T cells invisible to one of the drugs that's used in chemotherapy so that this new treatment can be used in combination with chemotherapy for maximum effect. The other will help prevent these foreign CAR T cells from just going hog wild and attacking everything in the patient's body, which is always a concern when you are cramming part of somebody else's immune system into a stranger. The researchers accomplished all of these changes using a technique called base editing. While original flavor Cas9 chops up DNA quite harshly, base editing is much gentler, and it allows you to make these smaller scale tweaks with a decreased risk of off-target genetic effects. So they made these changes and they put the engineered T cells into the patients, and it worked. Over 80% of patients who received this treatment went into deep remission, and once the cancerous T cells had been wiped out, they could receive follow-up treatments to rebuild their immune systems with healthy cells. I cannot emphasize enough how incredible this is. 10 years ago, CRISPR-Cas9 for medicine was still pretty hypothetical, and now it has been honed and reimagined into these technologies that are doing things that scientists literally thought was not possible. This cancer was incurable, and now it's not. I fucking love this shit.
So, like I said, it was better that she explained it better than I, because I'm not a doctor or a scientist. But the fact is, something that was thought to be incurable. We were never going to be able to attack it. Thanks to some smart ingenuity and rewiring of the genetic code and how it all works, it's now curable. And that is a fucking W for science. We love science here on Zero Dot, and that's huge. So thank you, Dr. Cal, for explaining that. And thank you to all the incredible scientists who've been working hard at saying, you know what? There is a way. And when there is a way, if you keep trucking on it, keep on trucking, with enough resources and enough time and enough brilliant minds, magic can truly happen. That's some good news right there.
That's some fucking incredible news. I keep thinking of the quote that's like, oh man, I lost it. Oh, come back here, Tab. Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Like, that shit's so cool, man. I love that. When somebody is like, that's not a thing you could ever do. No, it's like, it's a thing that's been done. Also, a lot of props to the person who is doing that. I like when somebody is both intelligent and also can speak with a silliness or an ease. Because that is a very relatable. I mean, I talk personally in like Dogman chimeras as a guy all the time. So that's very useful.
I will say, when she brought up the Dogman movie, I thought she was going to bring up the Thing movie by John Carpenter, because there's a Dogman alien thing in that movie. But I guess she was trying to go for PG-13 audiences.
Yeah, well, actually, Dogman, the cop, he's like a really fucked up character. He like abuses people all the time, and he like takes people to Dogman jail. It's actually very dark. But and a book by a cover and all that. But also, this is important to me, not important at all, but there's a still, if you pause that video, that just said attack anyone wearing a hat. And I feel like you could really just put that up. I just loved that. But no, that is amazing. I feel like what's really cool is like right now, if you're alive and if you're listening to this, you probably are. And if not, you're a ghost. So that's fun. But if you are alive, like the longer you're alive, the better it is to be alive typically, because we get better things to keep you alive. And it's just really cool. Like when I was born years ago, like so many things were so different than they are now. Like the whole fucking AIDS prognosis, like you can like, that's treatable. You can just like live a regular fucking life. I got taught about that in school. It was like, this is a death sentence. And like, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Science is
to
great.
People with like, problems, like hang in there, because the good guys are working real hard. Also, thanks, good guys. Thanks for being big, huge science people, because that shit was too hard. So I quit. So thank you for doing it. Pretty cool.
Absolutely. And again, super hot take. We like science here. If you don't like science, let us know, but hard time convincing me. Hard time convincing me that science isn't just overall a net good thing overall.
Take is so hot. It's not hot. It's just spicy. Here's the thing. You, dear listener, you already do like science. No matter what your actual thoughts or feelings are, you do, because what you appreciate is that knowledge led to the growth of things. That's just what it is. There's no like, there's nothing to not like. Like what you don't perhaps like, if you think you don't like science, is something that's antithetical to things that are important to you. And that's understandable. But let me tell you, science is not. Science is just not. Like fucking, it's cold outside. That's science. Like there's nothing to like or not like about it. It's just facts. If you disagree, genuinely, please let me know, because I would love to talk with you about it so very much. And not even like in a shitty way. Like I think this is a get on the same page thing, and I would love to unmuddy the waters.
I'll just say I'd probably be dead without science. Most of us would be dead, but yeah,
for sure.
I won't speak for anyone else. All the 7 to 8 billion people on this planet. I'll speak just for me. I know I would be dead without science. So,
I mean, I'll speak for a significant portion of them. Are you over 40? You'd be dead without science.
Yes,
that's just how it goes. The electric meat suit that you're riding in right now, they're about to expire like in your 30s. Like that's the default setting of this system. Yeah. I have a foot that requires orthotics lest I overpronate, which would render me incapable of walking. I'd be done. It'd be over. Yeah. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I'd be dead. Right. So yeah, no, it's pretty good. Yeah. Clothes, science. Houses, believe it or not, science.
Yeah.
Food? You check, it's fucking science again. Isn't that weird? How it's
our
all
food would
that?
Be so dirty if we didn't have science, and we'd all be dying from diseases and all kinds of awful stuff. Hey, how'd you die? Well, he had a bunch of rocks in his intestinal system.
Yeah.
And they ruptured everything. So
yeah, rocks are now super optional. You don't have to eat rocks at all, unless you're a chicken, and then you probably should eat some rocks for gizzard-based purposes.
Sure.
They don't do science quite the same way. They're still in their chicken phase where they're chickens.
We aren't chickens, last I checked.
No.
Unless Daniel wants to make a revelation right now that actually, guys, I'm 1/10 chicken. No, Daniel would never say that.
It would be such a fun show if on episode 15, we're like one of us is part chicken. New theme of the show, Chicken Uprising. It begins today.
20 minutes from now, Daniel's just going to just cut me off and be like,
yeah, my great-great-grandmother was a chicken.
Hell yeah.
I find this
and your
fascinating.
Great-grandfather was a freak.
Yeah. Think about how that works. Or probably don't think about how that works.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's amazing that it's taken this long for this revelation to make itself known. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your vulnerability and honesty, just admitting to that. You know, we should stand our chickens for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was good news. Now there's the part of the show that, you know, a lot of us kind of cringe. The butthole clenches just a smidge a little about, and we talk about stuff that's going on that's a little bad. And I want to break from our usual script for just a moment. And for those of you that are listening, tuning in, or watching the Zero Dot podcast for the first time, usually what we try to do is we try to highlight things that we might not be paying attention to because of other things kind of getting in our eyes, eye holes and ear holes and all that stuff, and what you can do about it. The one thing we never want to do here at Zero Dot is to catastrophize something and then not give you the resource to do something about it. But today we're going to break the script a little bit. We're going to be talking about something that probably quite a lot of you know quite a bit about. And I'm going to try to make this as clear as I possibly can. In the United States right now, if you are in the United States, the 50 United States, you are witnessing something that is incredibly devastating. ICE agents and what they are doing, regardless of your politics, we have seen that backfire on human lives in ways that no matter where you fall on the spectrum, none of us asked for. Alex Preddy didn't ask for that. Renee Good did not ask for that. Before we get into what you can do about this, I want to just very plainly speak to everyone, wherever you are on the spectrum. If you are looking at the footage, if you see what a lot of us can see that's available, even if you don't have sound on, it is my opinion. I know for a fact it's John's opinion. I know for a fact it's Daniel's opinion. So it's all of Zero Dot's opinion. That it's really clear that when you watch that, you can tell who the bad guys are. It is abundantly clear where the bad is coming from. And if you are someone who's watching that footage and you are disagreeing with that notion, if you have any kind of inclination that, actually, no, Alex Preddy deserved that, Renee Good deserved that, all that stuff, well, we certainly don't believe in, you know, we make jokes about it. We certainly don't believe in punching down. We don't certainly believe in making enemies. We actually want to connect with people in all kinds of ways we can. But I do have a question for those individuals. And the question is, and this is actually a question from Rhett McLaughlin from the show Good Mythical Morning. And I'm going to echo that question, which is, what would it take? What would it take for you in order for you to see the truth, to see what's going on, and to change your narrative about things? That's my question to you. But for everyone else that's watching, that you're seeing the truth, you're seeing like what we're all seeing. We're seeing where the bad guys are, and you want to do something. Well, there's a couple things you can do. But first, before I tell you what some of those things you can do, I want to just highlight something for you, which is your number one priority is to protect yourself, take care of yourself, your family, your friends, all that stuff. That's number one priority. And if that's all the spoons you have, then absolutely have no shame for doing nothing else beyond that. My heart goes to you, Zero Dot goes to you. But if you have a little bit more spoons in that, and I know many people do, many people feel hopeless, and we don't want anyone to feel hopeless, what are the things you can possibly do? I'm going to turn you to 3 different resources before I turn to John for his personal take on some of this stuff. The first thing you can do is you can go to a website called standwithminnesota.com. Across Minnesota, ICE continues to stop, harass, and detain people regardless of their citizenship status. This comes from their website. Normal life in Minnesota has been interrupted as schools have been forced to close or go virtual, as people live in fear of leaving their homes or going to work. And as John has said many times, Minnesotans are a strong breed and they're doing super well here. But they do need our help if we have these spoons to give it to them. If you go to standwithminnesota.com, you'll see a directory of places to donate to that all comes from activists on the ground, plugged into the situation. Everything is vetted with the exception of one thing, which is pretty cool. Every single day, the page refreshes with a new individual's GoFundMe. That page refreshes every single day. So if you want to check it out every single day, you can see a new person that's put on a GoFundMe that's from that area that could use your help if you choose to so do it. Everyone is in their networks, and they don't want to pick and choose who is worthy of that particular help. If you don't have the resources to give, obviously you can amplify the signal, what you're hearing and seeing, call out the bad, because again, to us at Zero Dot, we know who the bad guys are, but again, amplify that signal wherever you can. Go to your networks, friends, and family offline, and again, check out standwithminnesota.com. The second resource you can go to, though, which is the Minneapolis Mutual Aid Coalition. Community Aid Network, KNMN, that's knmn.org. That's Charlie Alpha Nancy Michael Nancy.org, is a grassroots volunteer-led organization located in the Bancroft neighborhood of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they work to build solidarity with their neighbors, organize volunteers, and redistribute resources to ensure everyone has the means of dignified survival, especially during this time. And once again, you can go to that website, look at that resource, and you can donate to them if you'd like to do that. One more thing I want to point out to you. We've been talking about the lives of United citizens that are here in the United States that are being impacted by this. But you know who also might be impacted? Those individuals that didn't have the luxury of having cameras on them. Like I said before, we have the ability to see the live footage, but there's a lot of people that have been detained, whether they're immigrants or not. We don't know what's happening to them. We have no idea. And they deserve to have a representation and resources at their disposal. The last thing you can consider looking into is called the Immigration Law Center of Minnesota. That's ilcm.org. The Immigration Law Center of Minnesota is a nonprofit organization that provides free immigration, legal representation to low-income immigrants and refugees in Minnesota and North Dakota. ILCM provides services based on their capacity. ILCM has a generally high demand for services and way higher than it is before. Unfortunately, they're not always able to meet and assist everyone, but what they're going to do with whatever resources they can, they will try to refer you to an organization or immigration attorney. So again, you can check out that resource as well. And if you want to donate to them and give them additional resources, you can. Before I turn over to John, and John, I'm sure has a lot to say because he's living there right now and he's impacted by this. Even if it feels hopeless, we can still do something. I do believe in breaking bread wherever we can. I believe in communicating and building bridges, and I think that's still possible in many different ways. This is not a political issue, however. This is impacting human lives. You can see the footage yourself. I would challenge anyone who has a different opinion than what we have just shared right here at Zero Dot. I would challenge you to suggest and ask if your opinion is coming from another talking head or even the administration or someone trying to color or shade the texture of what's happening for you. I'm not going to do that for you. I would encourage you to check that footage on your own, look at the resources there, make your own conclusions. But we at Zero Dot, we believe in a hopeful kind of punk. We believe in doing what's right for everyone. We want to make sure people have the resources they need to give back wherever they can. John?
Really well said, Sam. I'm going to get emotional during this. So, once again, if you are the person who's new to the show, welcome. You picked a doozy. Watch the other ones. They're good too. But you can't not talk about the big monster at the door. And this is that. It's not a political thing. It's murder in the streets. And I would offer you, because there's plenty of things to know about how scary it is. I'd offer you a little bit of an insight from Minnesota. Yesterday, I met with a person for like a physio, working out my old body. And I was talking with this guy who I'd never met before. And he and I shared this same kind of like, there's like a defiance and an optimism. The people of this state are not the people you should have started this with, because we're not going to roll over. We're going to be there. We're going to outnumber you. And we're not going to fucking start fights and riots that you can then blame us for. And we're going to tell everybody. So we're hanging in there. I'm a therapist. If you didn't know that, surprise, I am. I don't look like one, but I am. And I talk to people about this all the time. Every session. I don't document on that shit because I'm not a dum-dum. But I say, talked about current stressors, and it's very vague. But people all say the same thing. They say, this is bad. I go, yeah, it's bad. They say, I'm not doing enough. And I say, well, let's talk about that. Because the good news for the good guys, as opposed to the bad guys, for the record, are people who kill people with no defense for no reason. So just in case that was unclear. And that's not right wing, left wing. That's bad guys. But there's way more of us than there are of them. And if you do 1% of what can be done today, and I do 1%, and Sam does 1%, Daniel does 1%, if you do 0.5%, if you do 1/15%, that adds up astronomically. There's a reason that coverage of this is starting to say, like, the protests are working. It's because you can't ignore millions and millions and millions of people. And while we try not to be openly political, like, this is a trial run. That's why they went for Minneapolis first, because we're a big city, but we're a smaller city than New York, Los Angeles. And it's not working. The good guys are winning. It's coming at a ridiculously high price, and it's fucking stupid. And these pieces of shit get on my goddamn state. But I'll be fighting them. I'll be talking. I'll be blowing whistles. We disseminate material at every coffee shop there is. There's fuck ICE written in every fucking window in every fucking building. There's people from all lines, all over the political spectrum. Anybody who's telling you that Minnesotans are down with this, no. A couple of fringe lunatic weirdos might be, but like this, we're fighting the good fight. There's optimism, and we're starting to win. So don't give up. And then, when we get the bad guys back on their back foot, we need to go further. This needs to never happen again. I'm very grateful that this state is as resilient as it is, and I hope that wherever you are is as well. But if it weren't for all the cameras and the media, this would be getting swept around and hidden and all kinds of shit like that. So do what you can and only what you can. If you can donate your time, great. If you can donate your money, great. If you can donate your whatever, great. The resources Sam listed are really good. But I'll tell you what else you can do. Get a hold of your family member in Minnesota. It's like so many people I know up here have been like hurting or scared because they want people to know. I admittedly have had, frankly, an outpouring of support from people who are like, "Are you good?" And like that means a lot. So like, yeah, and I go to work. Some days I'll see like a fucking shithead ICE agent outside, and I let him know. I let him know how I feel. But also like, I'm a white guy. I don't know if you noticed that from the whiteness that I have.
Our listeners don't, but they might have assumed.
Yeah, no, I'm super white. Turns out, just like from a hue standpoint. But like, it's fucking scary. But when you know you have people who have your back, it's easier. I feel good doing it because I know that like there's a ton of people who have our back who are going to support this. And I'm telling you, the good guys are going to win, but we have to just keep pushing. So reach out, support people, let them know you care. It makes such a fucking difference. In fact, if you have a person who's not in Minnesota, but maybe they have a little bit more melanin than I do, which is every person on the earth, reach out to that person and be like, I'm sorry, our country's a fascist shithole right now. Once again, doing a poor job of veiling my opinions on this. But I don't really want to because, once again, this isn't political. I'm not here to bash the right-wing homies. Genuinely, I'm not. And I say this with love, like, they're going to come for you next. The whole thing where they turned and they were like, the Second Amendment, oh, the gun was a threat. They'll say whatever they have to say to justify their actions. And we're on the same team. If you're a human and you're trying, we're on the same fucking team. And it's okay if you're scared. I think we're all scared. But that's kind of the premise of our show, is you can do some of the most powerful, best shit you can do while you're scared. So we'll be here. We'll cheer you on. If you have questions or thoughts or fears, let us know. You're not alone.
And on the note of being on the same team, we are all on Team Human. If you are a human being that cares about other people, but you do not live in the United States of America, me, a British man who does not live in the same country where all of this is happening, you can still do something to help. Please do not leave the people in the United States to deal with it on their own. If you care about other people, you can go to the links that I will leave in the description of this podcast, and you can do something to help. You are not powerless just because you are not there. We're all in it together, no matter where you live.
Yes, we are. And the last thing, I'll just kind of nip this in the bud here, and just to give people a bit of hope. John's already said it, but I'll say it one more time. The good guy side, you know who you are. We're a lot more organized than the other side. And that's showing, and that's where we're seeing that. And this is how we can keep showing that incentive. So whatever you can do, again, this is not a call of arms. It's just a call of solidarity and hope, and doing what you can for anyone.
I would actually like to bounce on that a little bit too, right? So I'm a very gentle, sweet guy by nature, but I'm historically 90% fight to 10% flight. And I would really like to go do some things that I shouldn't say on the internet to some of these people who are hurting innocent people. That's not what we need to do. And this isn't some hippie shit. I mean, it might be coincidentally, but that's not the point of it. The point is it works if you play the strong, ongoing card of this isn't okay, we're not going to stand for it. They can't. The fucking political mechanics of this don't work if you don't roll over. Like you can't. And they're fucked up in a lot of ways, but they're not dumb enough to just press the button when the button won't work. So keep the pressure on them. Make your voices heard. we live in a post-truth era right now, which is a very conspiratorial thing to say, but also it's a fucking fact. Like, you can just say things and people will believe you because the truth is very blurry these days. Make your voice heard. Because fucking, dear viewer / listener, I know you can tell right from wrong. Killing people is wrong.
The last note again to anyone, which probably no one's on this side listening to us, but if you are on the side and you're confused by what's happening or trying to make sense of it all, the one thing I'd point out to you is any side that does the Darvo tactic, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, that's a good place to start to try to be extra critical of what anyone is trying to tell you. We're not trying to do any of that to you. We're trying to bring solidarity and we're trying to bring hope, and we're all in this together no matter what.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking for posterity, the gist of it is that, like, if you think this is a good thing, like, let me talk to you. like not in a threatening way. Like, I want to hear why, because I know that and I say that with gentleness and frankly with love in my heart, which I'm sure is already being rebuked by a person with this stance. You're scared. You're fucking scared. If you think this is good, it's because you're afraid of something. You think this is going to help you. I'm telling you it's not. I'm telling you it's not. This is an old play. We've seen this play before. You are as useful to these people as you are at this moment. And as soon as you're not, you're out. So I genuinely, more than anything, I don't want to talk with people who agree with me. I want to talk with people who don't. Because we can be fucking humans about this. I want to help you feel better about supporting a side for fucking humans, so when you go to bed at night, you don't feel fucking scared and angry. That's a manipulative tactic. If you wake up and think, God, I'm glad those people are getting hurt, that's because you've been hurt. They're trying to control you with that shit. And it works. It's fucking effective. So, sincerely, if you are a person who's listening to the devil's advocate of us trying to talk about this and you hold the other opinion, thank you from the bottom of my fucking heart, because it's people like you who will make the difference. Every person who goes, I'm not going to participate in this shit anymore, holy fuck, we want to welcome you with open arms. There should be no chastising. There should be no, well, you fucking, none of that shit. This is a human issue now. We can go back to arguing about politics later. That's fine. This isn't that.
All right. Well, let's lighten things up a little bit. So this week, I did a bit of traveling, quite a bit of traveling. I had a hectic travel week for my work, for my job. Involved many cancellations of flights and traveling through the weather and a lot of uncertainty whether I was going to make my destination on time for my big delivery. But en route to that, a funny little story happened, and I think it's an opportunity to give a shout out to someone. So, John and Daniel, I'm sitting in Philadelphia Airport. This is the fourth flight that I'm trying to be on that hopefully doesn't get canceled. To the left of me, the gate that I'm on, the gate to the left of me, that flight gets canceled. A bunch of people scream and get mad and they walk away. To the right of me, the flight gets canceled. A bunch of people scream and get mad. And then I'm watching the ticker right now. My flight went from being on time to being 10 minutes late to being 15 minutes late to being 35 minutes late. And I'm like, oh, geez. And I have a razor thin margin in my connection. And if I am too late, I won't be able to make my connection. The usual stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, something kind of funny happened while I was at the airport. I'm sitting there. I'm a shell of a human being. It's been a long day. I'm checking my phone. I'm wearing Daniel's awesome logo hat, which I'm wearing the shirt of right now. I've got that brim cap on me, and I'm just scrolling through my phone. And I noticed two individuals walk past me, and they are pointing at my feet and gawking at me. And then the one lady is like giving me this really big smile. And I'm like, what? And I look at my feet. I'm wearing shoes, by the way. Is something wrong? Is there something scuffed about them? Do they look, they're just shoes. They're just shoes. So I'm like, probably nothing. I ignore it. We get to start boarding the plane. We're 35 minutes late, but I'm told by the ticket agent, you're going to make your connection. Okay. And this is a very tiny plane. We're talking about a plane that's got only two each side. It's a very tiny little puddle jumper plane. And I'm about boarding in, and my seat is right next to one of the ladies that had been gawking at my feet earlier before. And I did not know what it was about. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm probably going to pass out and sleep for this little puddle jumper flight. Who cares? I literally get into my seat. I'm getting my seat buckle in, and she's staring at me very intently. Makes her sound scary. It wasn't scary. And she says, so how long have you been wearing barefoot running shoes for? She had known that the shoes that I was wearing were a specific type of barefoot shoe that has no sole whatsoever, but looks a little fancy and has a very wide toe box. I wear these shoes purposely because they don't look like those types of shoes, but she had diagnosed and already figured out that was what I was wearing. I'm like, 7 years actually. And before I know it, we had a very lovely conversation. And it turns out she is a foot care specialist that specializes in barefoot walking, barefoot running, and barefoot style kinds of shoes. So I want to give her a shout. Her name is Mia. But there's a couple funny things about the story. But the first thing is she has 2 Instagrams. She has one she runs by herself, and she has one that she's part of a large organization for. The large organization is called My Foot Function, where on that Instagram, if you go to it right now, we'll plug her. They talk about tips how to massage your feet, how to stretch your tendons, how to make your feet more strong, etc. So she's like a physical therapist, but she does this as the side. Occupational therapist with prosthetics and orthotics as her specialty. I didn't want to call her something that she wasn't. So let me say that one more time. She's an occupational therapist with a specialization in prosthetics and orthotics, but she's really nerdy about just barefoot walking, barefoot running, and using, shoes and of that nature that kind of help with that. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm not advocating for it, but I will say that my personal story, about 7 years ago, I was in a lot of physical pain in my hip, in my knee, and in my ankle. I was a former long distance runner and an endurance runner, and I felt like no matter what I did, I was just always going to be experiencing pain throughout the rest of my life. I remember going to a running store and buying $300 pairs of shoes because I was told that's exactly what I need to take care of my feet and take care of my posture and everything else. And let me tell you, it didn't really work. Like, it made me feel better for about 2 months, but then by about the month 3, I'd have to buy a new pair of $300 pair of shoes. And I was like, something has to give, because otherwise I'm just going to be in pain for the rest of my life, and that's not suitable for me. So the choice that I made, and I'm not saying anyone else makes this choice, but the choice I made was, well, I hear barefoot walking, running like retunes your body and like how to properly move. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I tried. And so I tried it. And fun story, John, the first time I did it, I was told, buy, cheap barefoot shoes with minimal soles and don't go further than like 200 yards and then come back and don't do that. Guess what I did? I ran half a mile and I think, I'm feeling great. I'm doing whatever. Well, right afterwards, I wake up and I'm in such physical pain because my calves have never been used in that capacity for that long. Ooh. For 2 weeks, I'm limping. I'm like, oh. But I keep at it. I keep trying. I am barefoot most of my life, most of my time. Every waking hour, I wear barefoot style shoes of that capacity. It takes me about, I would say, 2 years, which is a long time. But I can tell you right now, I'm so glad I did, because now I have literally no pain. I can walk forever. And this lady, Mia, she resonated with that story, so that's a fantastic story. But it is one of the tough things about medicine that she's trying to advocate for, is that, we're always looking for a quick, easy solution. Pop a pill, do this, do that, etc. And sadly, with her practice, what she recommends is it takes a bit of sacrifice, which is something that I personally did, but not everyone has the spoons to do it. And it's a really tough sell for a lot of different reasons. But I'm advocating for just a couple funny things. One, the company that she works with, the Instagram account that she works with is My Foot Function. It's an Instagram account. You can check on yourself. They do all kinds of information, education stuff. But this is the real thing. Her real personal account, where she kind of started this, it's called Not That Kind of Foot Content. And we had a funny little discussion about like celebs who like try to shield their feet because they know there are fetishists out there to like look at that kind of thing, and like OnlyFans accounts for that kind of thing. And she just made fun of that for that particular reason. But it was a lovely conversation, and I'm glad we had it. And even though initially I was upset because I really wanted to get a couple Z's, I wanted to sleep throughout that small little puddle jumper. I'm really glad that I didn't, because I made a good connection with that person, and I hope that person's doing well. And I'd advocate for anyone that if you're looking for other avenues in looking at your foot health and you want to try something, you might want to check out her channel, Not That Kind of Foot Content. But once again, I'm not advocating, I'm not saying it is the solution, but it can help a lot of people if you go down that path in a very healthy and sustainable way.
My name's John. I'm one of the people in the Zeroed Out podcast. I'm a big believer in tradition, and I'm already a white man in his 30s with a podcast. So to really round this out, I want you to know that I also, my friends and I, who I believe are similarly afflicted with white males in our 30ness, we do have a Patreon as well. And perhaps you're brand new to the internet and you're like, a Patreon, is that like a fan of some type that you're saying wrong? It's actually a website. And if you go there for a nominal fee, I believe for $3.99, you can become our internet pal and get primo exclusive access to our videos that are actually longer, and we say more dumb shit or useful shit. I don't know. You can, I guess, be the judge of that and then tell us. And if it's the bad thing, we'll try to change it. But also, it helps us support the channel and keep making things like this that I hope you liked. Please?
But anyway, that's just a small little anecdote to a bigger, larger story. So this week was a pretty rough week for me. I'm not saying it was the roughest of weeks, but it was a rough week. You know, I had a client engagement Wednesday and Thursday. I was supposed to fly out from Philadelphia to Ohio. You can actually drive that distance. It's about 7 to a 9-hour drive. I've done that in the past, but I don't know if you know this, but we had a little bit of a polar vortex kind of hit just all of the Americas, but kind of the upper Northeast America sector. Lots of snow, frigid cold weather, etc. So driving it was not going to be super reasonable. And my flight got canceled 4 times. To the point where the final flight they booked me for was a flight that was going to arrive very late, like into the afternoon. So if I was supposed to deliver my workshop at 7 in the morning, I wasn't going to get there till like 1 in the afternoon. I'm like, that's not doable. That's not feasible. I'm bringing this up because at a certain point, I let my client contact know, hey, we're looking at some significant risk here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it on time. What would you like to do? They scramble. They're trying to figure out what we're going to do. It's no one's fault, but a couple of funny things get indicated to me, which is, well, if you ultimately can't make it, I guess we'll have to cancel, and we probably won't be able to use you ever again because this is a discontinuation of service and you won't get paid for this job. That doesn't feel good, even if I logistically understand the ramifications of that. Even if I have a very good history with this client, I've never failed them before, but this one time, completely out of my control, it looks like there might be a failure point. I might be paying the cost for it. So I call my travel agent, and she books me this wild flight connection that has me flying from Philadelphia to further down south, which makes it's going the opposite direction of Ohio. And then that connection kind of can get me to Ohio. And I won't get to my hotel till about 3 in the morning. Go time is at 7. I should be up by about 5. That'll give me maybe 2 hours of sleep. And I'm thinking this whole time, I don't want to do this, but we don't really have a choice. And on top of that, it's risky because, as I said to you before, as I'm waiting on the terminal in Philadelphia, it goes from being on time to being 20 minutes late to being 35 minutes late. We're almost at 45 minutes. Ugh. There's a significant risk. I could be stranded in my connection, not make it to the place, piss off a bunch of people, and then I'm stuck. I can say, again, just as a call out, having that conversation with that individual kind of made my hopes a little bit cheer. I learned something from someone. It was a nice connection there. But there was a significant amount of risk. And it wasn't until I landed in my connection and I literally got on the plane was taking off, that I felt like, okay, I think I'm okay. I texted the person. I think we're good. I think I'll make it. I'll be tired, but we can make it work. And they were very delighted. But it gets even worse because after we take off, John and Daniel, they tell me 2 things. They say, by the way, no potable water. And also, the left engine is kind of broken, so we're just going to turbojet the right engine and we should make it. And the entire ride, we are wobbling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So while that's happening, I'm thinking, oh, okay, I hope I make it. I even remember texting my wife, says, hey, this is what's happening. Love you. Because I wanted to make sure the last message she had for me was, hey, I love you. Needless to say, I land, we're okay. I get maybe an hour and 45 minutes of sleep before I got to get up, do the thing, run it, etc. The 2-day workshop goes exceedingly well. Everyone's really happy. I get the following feedback, which is, we got an email that you might not be able to make it, and that was really pissing me off. And I thought you were a hack of a facilitator, but then you did your thing, and man, you're like the best we've ever had. So I'm really glad you made it. And everyone's celebratory and everyone's happy. We wrap up. I get on my plane back home. Feedback gets to my employer. My employer goes, "Oh my gosh, Sam, thank you for going the extra mile. You really made this client happy," etc. I should be happy, but instead I'm not happy. I'm not happy, John, because I'm a value accordant person. And I realize that what I've actually done is I've done a significant amount of work for significantly less pay and under only the threat of fear that I might lose my job. And that's not a good thing. I bring this up because I'm proud of the fact that I'm able to look at all this and go, okay, something needs to change. Some conversation need to be had. Those conversations will be had this week. I won't get into what those conversations will be or what the outcome is, but something has to give. Because what was going to happen, John, is that I was not going to get paid. I was going to get declined further work for this client, even though it was nothing beyond my control. The flights got canceled due to weather. But then just a fun ad, John, because of a bureaucratic thing. Because all of my travel took place overnight, I don't get paid for the travel time either. So I technically made even less money for going above and beyond to try to make this happen for this particular client. Yeah.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. But I say this story to bring us the kind of the platform of what I really want to talk about, which is value accordant actions, which I know is something you're incredibly passionate about. I'm grateful again that I have the opportunity to challenge this and question this, because there was a time in my life when I would say, I just got to deal with it. This is just what I got to deal with. This is my deck of cards. This is what I have to do. Right. But I know my worth. I know what I'm really good at. I'm in the top 50 of my profession of what I do.
Let's go.
I think most of us do what we do because of probably the most powerful motivator in our life, which, as you said before, John, is fear. Fear rules us all. Now, I'm here to tell you something pretty controversial, which is fear can more times than not be a good thing. It prevents us from running away from, dying from bears. It motivates us to get out of jail. It stimulates a fight or flight response, etc. Thanks to our good friend cortisol. Cortisol is actually, in small part, not completely, but it does play a contributing factor to letting our heart pump just on a regular basis. Due to that, fear has a role in our lives. It is a strong motivator. But I think a shift can happen when we shift what that fear is to rule our very lives. If you live your entire life dictated by fight or flight, fear of what you're about to lose, I call it. I might lose my job. This might happen. This could happen. This could happen. John, I think it stifles you for sure and other things, but it also plays a huge long-term cost to your body, physiology, and your relationships to everyone. And we have to make this trade-off sometimes, but if you can have the opportunity to take a step back and go, hold on, something has to give. If you can do that, I think you have a real opportunity to make some significant shifts in your life, make it better not just for you, but for your family members and everyone else that cares about you. And you deserve to live a life of sustainability. And so I say this because this is the shift I think we can make. And this is why I want us to talk about today, John. Fear is a really strong motivating factor. It's good. It's powerful. But what I'd like to challenge people to do, and even myself, I do from time to time, and these are the most successful people in the world that I get to work with. They have also made this same shift, which is change our fear of not living or losing something or, everything falling apart. Change that and repivot it to the fear of having not lived. What if tomorrow was your last day on this earth and yesterday was all you have to show for it? Would you be proud of that? Would you have regrets? Regrets are normal. That's perfectly fine. We're all going to have regrets. That's fine. But if the question causes significant pain, like crap, yesterday I worked a job I didn't like. I didn't get paid the money that I wanted to. I didn't get to see my friends and family. I wasn't the version of me that I wanted to be. And that's a continual basis almost every day, Monday through Friday, or however many days I'm working. And that causes you significant pain. I think we can hone in on that. And I want to pause there because I know John's doing that thing, my fellow listeners, where he's typing furiously. And most of the notes are saying, Sam is wrong. Sam is wrong. I hate this guy. God, I can't wait to get off this podcast. But some of them are going to be some good thoughts, and I want to hear what they are.
You covered all of them. It's just that you're wrong, and I want to get off this podcast. So
okay,
that's it. Back to you. Except maybe I'll ad-lib a couple of things. One of those things is that, first off, as you know, I am the biggest value accordant action fan in the world because it is genuinely the one-step blueprint to having an idea of how to handle most things. It isn't the answer, but it's how you get to the answer, which is really nice. Quick thought on regrets. If you don't have any regrets, you are either perfect, which you can't be, or you're lying. It's okay to have regrets. Regrets are part of stories. It's good to have regrets. I would validate. Shout out to my homie Kevin Barrymore. For instance, we were 5. He one time told me, "What's going to give you a better story today? Do you want to go out to this class with me for yoga, or do you want to just fucking sit around?" He was nicer than that when he said it, but that stayed with me. And I think that you're on something really powerful there, Sam, with like having the fear of not having lived and not having conquered the day. I do have a quick little caveat, perhaps. For some people, there's a glitch where the fear of doing the day wrong leads to inaction. And for people with ADHD, there's a thing where it's so hard to start the day that this fear morphs into shame a lot. But I think, in general, like the framework I like is move towards your values, not away from your fears. It's just in this case, they go the same direction, because I feel like the fear of not having done the things you want is also, it's just the upside down version of like chasing the things that you want. But no, I really like this idea. And also I would validate what you said too. Like, fear isn't a bad thing. Fucking listen to this, dear listener and viewer, perhaps you as well. Or read it if you're doing closed captioning, which is very weird. Good luck with that. Fear is an emotion. You knew that. Hopelessness is an emotion. Terror is an emotion. So if you're, say, hearkening back to our Minneapolis bit, if you're living around here, hopelessness, it's up there right now. Like, you'll feel hopeless. You'll feel fear. Those things aren't reflective of the actual prognosis you're facing. Or to be less therapist-y about it, those things aren't indicative of doom. Like, fear isn't as bad as it feels. And when you can help your brain know, I feel fearful of this is a scary thing, and say, I'm going to act in the face of that, 2 things happen. 1, fear is doing its job and it will fuck off afterward. And 2, you get to feel really powerful. Doing things in the face of fear is really, really cool, and you deserve to hype yourself up when you do it. But we may get more into that later.
You said it before, fear is the antidote to despair, right? Or no, action is the antidote to despair. But fear
that's a much darker take.
But fear plays a factor into that. And I think
yes,
you're right. I mean, there can be a debilitating effect to fear for sure. And I'm not here to shame that or say that's wrong or any capacity. But the pivot is, I'm looking at myself in my position. I'm going, not just that I'm worth more. This isn't an egotistical thing. It's like, I only have so much more time on this planet. Am I going to spend more of my time doing things like this, or can I do something else with it that's going to help a lot more people? And it's a tough question. It's a tough phenomenon to have. But again, I'm only able to make that flip, John, because I've given myself A, permission to make that flip, and B, I have a high self-efficacy, which is the second component to this. If you don't have high self-efficacy, which I'll explain what that is in just a moment, you feel like you don't have a choice. I just have to do whatever the cards give me, whatever the world gives me. I just have to deal with it, right? When we talk about self-efficacy, it's having the data that backs up that you have been successful in the past with something. And you can only do that by trying hard things and doing things early in your life or later in your life. Doesn't matter to me. But once you have a well of knowledge that, hey, I've been successful in other things, I've done things well, okay, you start building up this nice little library of, here's this win, here's that win, here's this win. I've been successful. And the question then becomes, do the people that hold the cards for me, and in this case, let's say it's your employer, do they see the same stack that I do, or are they seeing a smaller stack? And if they're seeing a much smaller stack, you can do one of 2 things. I can try to convince them that the stack's much bigger than that. Spoiler warning, 99 times out of 100 won't work. I recommend still trying it, but it's probably not going to work because they're incentivized to think that stack is smaller than it actually is. Or the second thing I can do is I can change it so that way the person that's holding my cards, either that's me or someone else, actually now finally sees the full stack. And here's what's fun about this is that because you have this full stack, you have a higher level of predictive success than you would have otherwise. Because one of the greatest things that we do, one of the best ways we can try to predict success is look at past success. When you interview someone, you say, tell me of a time when, and when you tell them a story where you were successful and it correlates to the job objective or whatever, that will give them, the job interviewer, the best indicator of whether you'll be future successful otherwise. And we can do the same thing for ourselves. So I have a high self-efficacy quotient, and I'm grateful for that. And I have that opportunity. And so anyone that feels like you can't make that choice, I want you to know that I love you and it's not your fault. But my next direction would be, how can we build up your self-efficacy? How can we give you some swings, some risks, some things that you can start doing, small little projects, things, and you can build up that repertoire of things. And I'm sure there's even more data that John can provide, especially when you do have a huge library of wins, yet the brain just isn't tracking it. The brain isn't finding it, right? We all have that, but we don't think they're wins. We don't think that it's something worthwhile to note. And I'm here to tell you it actually is. The world has told you it's not, but I and John and Daniel, if he wanted to, would tell you it absolutely is. John, thoughts about that?
Oh man, I'm super pumped. It was you actually, Sam, who got me started talking about self-efficacy. This is a fucking staple in my stuff that I do these days, because it's such an available tool. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but my very Cliff Notesy version of it that I teach people is, confidence is like, I know I can do the thing. Self-efficacy is, I know I can learn how to navigate the thing. And you can do that. and I don't mean to just be like, buzzwording it up. Like, you could believe in yourself. I mean, do believe in yourself. But there's this piece of like, okay, I hope this company's not evil, because I always get scared now with AI. But back in the day, I used to talk about this company all the time called Goblin.tools. Have you heard of Goblin.tools?
No.
It's if you just type in Goblin.tools in your URL. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
I give this to a lot of the homies with ADHD, because what you do on Goblin.tools is you just go like, how do I change a tire? And it goes, well, you need to first decide what is wrong with your tire. Is it flat? Then you need to get a jack. A jack looks like this. And each of the steps, you can click on it and it'll go, like, what is a jack? And it's like, oh, it's that thing in the back of your car, like the little corkscrew shaped thing. And then you'll have Goblin.tools tell you, and then you go, but Goblin.tools, how do I twist a jack? And it's like, we put one hand here, and the other hand here, and you rotate it 90 degrees. And you're like, Goblin.tools, how do I use my hands? And it's like, consider the concept of your arms. Like, you can kind of have an existential crisis with it if you want, which is very fun. But the reason I like it is because we live in an age where you can kind of just find the answers to everything. You don't have to use Goblin.tools to do this. I just think it's fun. And it's called Goblin.tools, which is, we should just talk about that sometime on its own, because what a fucking great name. But like, there's a depth and hiddenness of information that's over now. You can just know stuff. I had to buy airplane tickets to go to New York recently, and I don't know shit about how to do that. I've always had help every time I've done it, but I just like did it. Hey, nice. Hey, there you go. I'm
just curious how it's going to do this. For those that are listening in, I typed in, there's a section here called The Judge. Am I misinterpreting the tone of this? And I'm being cheeky. And I said, you are a piece of shit, die. And what does it come up with? The text communicates a strong and intense negative emotion. Oh, thanks. It conveys feelings of anger, hostility, and disdain. The language used is aggressive and confrontational, suggesting the speaker is expressing deep resentment or fury towards the person being addressed. The phrase, you are a piece of shit, is a highly derogatory insult, indicating significant contempt and a desire to diminish the other person's worth. The command, die, further amplifies the hostility, amplifying a wish for the person's harm or demise, which reflects a moment of extreme emotional agitation, possibly characterized by frustration, hatred, or exasperation. Overall, the text comes across as deeply confrontational, hostile, emotionally charged, and revealing a severe level of anger or contempt toward the individual targeted by these words. Thanks, Goblin.tools.
I never would have known otherwise.
Brilliant. Like I said, my feelings have changed on it a little bit, since I feel like AI is maybe not the best friend that I thought it was. But I've been using Goblin.tools for years and years and years. So I bring it up because, like, if you're a person who has anxiety, when you are approached with the problem, you'll be like, I can't fucking do that. Allow you to listen to me tell you about me. So we were saying earlier, it's been a week. And if you recall, dear listener / viewer, at the start of the episode, I was like, yeah, it's been really fucking stupid. Let me just let you know a little bit of my lore. If you listen to all of our episodes, maybe there's some foreshadowing, because I've said to you, I have a Kia Soul. Well, I don't anymore, because they're very stealable. And a guy tried to steal it. He failed because he's a loser. He also was kind of like a super nice loser, because he didn't take any shit on my car, but my car's very dead. So my sunglasses were still in there, which just like meant a lot to me. So thank you, shitty thief, at being bad at your job, you fucking piece of shit. But the reason I bring all this up is because I've never had a person try to steal my car before. So I'm going to work. I'm walking out of apartment where I stayed over the previous night. And I go to my car and I go to plug my key into the car. And then I'm like, oh, there's no hole for this. And I sit in the car. I'm like, oh, there's no hole for this. Like this dude just fucking dismantled. Once again, don't buy 2014 Kia. Kia, totally a fine brand. The Kia Soul, you can't insure them now through a lot of companies. Thank you to my insurance for covering mine, because I don't know. Anyway, I've never done this before. And I remember I was like, hey, can I get a ride to work? to a friend, and they were like, "Yeah, what happened?" And like, I got to have this story, like, "Oh, yeah, I just got robbed." So all week has been just new discoveries for me of like, how do you get this taken care of? How do you get a tow into the city? How do you share this thing? Which pictures do you take of the car to send in? Where do you get the rental car from? If you need an appointment but the car's already totaled, then how do you? And it's just bam, 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 bam. Super shit week for me. Not a fun week at all. Shout outs to my clients, by the way, for being like mega flexible this week. I really appreciated that. Thank you, clients. But I've been scared the whole time, right? Because like, if I stop seeing people, I stop making money, and then I stop having food, and then I'm dead. So if I do this wrong, the consequences are catastrophic, saith the amygdala. But the 38 years of life that I've had have been like, we kind of just do stuff. So if you talk to a person, they'll probably tell you the next step, and if they don't, try it in person. And at some point, like what Sam was getting at, when you just kind of do these things, like it gets done. I was telling the fellows before our show started, the rental company gave me a real fun rental car right now. It weighs about 8 pounds. It's got a solid half of a horsepower. I'm motivated to get a new car now. But I believe that I'll get this done, even though I'm scared the whole time. To be transparent, I am riddled with anxiety. I've just had it for my whole life, and I've learned how to go, your anxiety, I'm going to do a thing. Will it work? And this is the best part. So stay tuned for this. When your brain goes, oh, but will it work? The answer is irrelevant. Because what your brain's trying to do there is make a little mini algorithm to predict, will this be effective? What should I do? You can't know, though. Like if you are playing a sport, perhaps the basketball, and you go to shoot it, and you're like, will it go in? I can't shoot it unless it will go in. You're doing a great disservice to your team. You should try or pass it. Like do a thing. And self-efficacy is all about just trying stuff and learning and trying stuff and learning. And you're a human. And you are really good at this. We're literally the best creatures at this at all. And if you're not a human, that's way more exciting. And we would like to hear about it.
Can I still do this as part chicken?
Yes, I believe your heritage has enough human that you have the ability to do it. Also, chickens can like do shit with their head cut off for a hot minute. So there's some significant
they're awesome in that regard.
Chickens are super clever. They're really clever animals. Sometimes they don't show it, but they are.
One of my favorite people once said to me that she is her best self in the presence of a chicken. That's a real thing a person has said to me. And I said that to another person, and she said, me too. So I'm starting to think that's like a thing.
I feel that makes so much sense to me. Yeah.
Just be around a chicken is really the big takeaway of our show. Zero Dot Podcast. Be around a chicken. But yeah, I think I may have bled into rambling, but self-efficacy is amazing and value accordant action is amazing. And if you just, and I know this is an oversimplification, but if you just keep trying, you're not going to just like die. Like it will get you closer to an answer. And I know that, and Sam knows that, and Daniel knows that, because we've all tried a lot of things. I'll tell you something else, dear listener / viewer. Oh my God, we've failed at so many fucking things. I have failed at so many things in the context of just the car thing this week. Like I'm on like try number 4 on figuring stuff out, and today is the day I got it. But I got it. Special shout out to the anxiety homies. And I mean this like from a genuine place of love. This is harder for you. I'm one of you, so I can talk about this kind of freely. Your brain will go, I can't do this. And it will be like, like your chest will lock up and you'll feel actual danger because your brain gives you danger juice when it's afraid. Not useful, brain. I have a little thing called propranolol that I take. I take it for blood pressure reasons, but it also kind of just stymies the effects of physiological anxiety. So it's fun because my brain will be like, oh my God, we might fail at this. And then my brain's like, yeah, I guess then we'd have to do the next thing, man. And like that's what the decision-making flowchart is like if you don't have anxiety. And you can do this. And like what Sam was getting at, the best thing of all is as you begin to do this, your brain begins to develop a meta concept of it. And it's like, I can do things I don't know how to do. And if I can't, I'll figure it out. Or I'll get someone else who can't. Or I'll go, I can't do that. I'll do a different thing instead. Like humans are incredibly good at moving forward until we're too afraid, which I'm beginning to think is the theme of the show today.
Maybe. If self-efficacy sounds like a $5 phrase, the other way to phrase it is trust in your future self. Trust in your future self to be able to handle, learn, do the thing. And trust comes from, well, I've got a body of work that I've been successful in. This doesn't seem that much different from the other stuff. I mean, it's different. The permutations are all different, but I've been successful before. Probably will be trustful again. And you might think to yourself, Sam, John, Daniel, I don't have self-efficacy because my body of work, my body of successes is nil. In fact, my ratio of successes is incredibly low. I'd say that I fail more times than I succeed. And I'm with you. I get you. But I have two things to offer to you. Human beings statistically, even my neurospicy friends, you're really hard to be below 50% success rate. In fact, 99 times out of 100, you're guaranteed to be 51% or higher. And if you want to bump that ratio even higher, keep trying. Now, that's frustrating. I get that. But in the keeping of the trying, fail, 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 succeed once, well, you're not going to just succeed once and be done with it. You're going to keep doing it until you keep succeeding. And now the 20, 30, 40, 50,000 failures you had, that becomes an incredibly small number, and the successes outweigh it by a significant amount. And overall, you can say, oh, I'm successful now in that particular thing. When I learn a new task, I am the worst at that task. I literally, if there's a competition for being the worst at a brand new task, that is me. But one of the things that I give myself permission to, and this might not work for my neurospicy friends, but it works for me and it works for a lot of other people, is I say, okay, I'm going to give myself infinite amount of time to do this task and to learn it. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you don't have the spoons for it. Totally get it. But for those things that like, no, this is important to me, I will take forever to learn to get good at this task, whatever the heck that is. And folks, when I tell you that I'm a slow learner, I am a slow fucking learner. I do not have the skill where I can take a task that I don't know anything about and go, oh, it's like 15 other tasks that I did. They correlate to each other and I can quickly ramp up my skill. I don't have that skill. The skill that I have is this is a totally brand new isolated task that I must learn from the ground up and learn to myself. Now, because of my learning disability, I don't make that choice with a lot of things. There's some things I'm like, I'm not going to spend the infinite amount of time to learn this. I'm going to hire someone to help me. I'm going to partner with someone. I'm going to connect with someone. But for things that are important to me, I'll give myself the time to do it. And when I do, as long as I have infinite amount of time and I keep trucking along, eventually I'll hit success. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And then from then on, the ratio comes in my favor. And that's something that I offer to people that have the spoons to do it. And I say this story because my father's actually a really great example of this. I don't want to speak too much about this, but at a certain point in my brother's life, my brother's 9 years older than me, so I wasn't even born yet, I don't think, in this case. Teachers were really concerned that my brother, wasn't doing well in school, wasn't doing well in tests, whatever. And my dad would say, well, okay, so what's the issue? And they give the test scores to my father. My father would look at it and say, well, half of these aren't even answered. He says, yeah, he hasn't been able to answer half the questions. He says, well, what if we looked at just the things he was able to answer? Look at those questions. And did the math, and it was like, oh, it's like if you did the percentage that way, it's like an 85%. And he's like, so you're telling me that my son, in the time that he was given, when he answers a question, he has an 85% ratio? That seems like success to me. And then he argued with the teachers back and forth, and eventually it became, okay, you're going to give him a test. And you're going to give him an infinite amount of time to take that test. And yes, some students will get it done in 25 minutes, 35 minutes. You'll give him the 2 hours, 3 hours he does. But anyway, so the story is, when my father was able to negotiate with teachers, quite hostilely, I will imagine, because the teachers didn't want to do it, but said, hey, you give my son infinite amount of time for this test, and then let's grade him on that. Or you only grade him on the ones in which he's able to answer. They agreed to the longer format. They gave him a lot more time to answer these tests. He started scoring in the 80s and 90s. And he's like, if you give people enough time to do whatever they want to do, they'll be successful. And my brother was successful there on afterwards. So I say that to my spicy homies. I say that to everyone. One of the fears that we often make is things have to be done right now. And I fall into that sometimes. But when I give myself infinite amount of time, I find that no matter what, I will generally be some kind of version of success. And it could be a long time, but it can absolutely happen in that capacity. John.
At all times, every day. A lot of thoughts. One, cool dad, big fan. Two of all, you gave me an insight into a thing that I've done for a long time. And I kind of didn't know why it worked, but I kind of have the words for it now. Heads up, I sound a little crazy when I talk about this, but that happens a lot. You're probably used to that by now. And if you're not, strap in. I play competitive games. I'm a competitive guy. And occasionally I'll play somebody. And historically in my past, I had what the kids are calling a weak mental. And I go, I can't do this. I suck. And somewhere along the line, my brain was like, let's try this on for size. And I would lose to a guy or a gal or anybody, I don't know. It's the internet. And I would go, I can figure this out. I can beat this guy. I can beat anybody. I can beat anybody. And that sounds like a crazy person's hyper-confidence. I don't want you to think you're the best in the world at things, because that's a lot of pressure. But that phrasing for me gave me permission. Like, if you give me enough games, I'll figure you out. I'll beat anybody. Whether that's true or not, it's incredibly useful for my brain, because it goes, okay, well, let's solve the problem. And it's no longer thinking about, well, we have to do it right now. And what Sam's getting at with the infinite time thing is, and this is like kind of the freedom for your little buddy amygdala back here, is if you aren't on a time constraint or feel you're playing for stakes of like your personal value, your worth, whether or not this was worth doing, etc., then you'd learn real fast, and efficacy is massively improved. So when I'm just trying to do things to be like, oh, okay, how would this work? Whether it be in, a game or life or cars or love or you name it, there's just this level of freedom you suddenly have to just make mistakes and learn from them. And that is really utilitarian. And the reason I really want to harp on this so much is because your brain will pump you full of death juice and be like, if you do it wrong, it's curtains for you, bud. And that's not true. That's just not true. If you do it wrong, you get to learn from it. And occasionally, this is like, okay, so this is a hard one. If you, dear listener / viewer at home, can't roll with this one, that's okay. This is like really hard. There's a fear of death that is not utilitarian, and it is okay to override it. And that sounds crazy. Here's my example that hopefully will make it make more sense. I was flying to New York recently, where I actually saw my buddy Sam. And I got on the plane, and they were like, as a heads up, fucking this plane's made out of cardboard, and it's going to be turbulent the whole time, and you might just die. So I did the same thing that Sam did, and I was like, hey, people that I love, I hope I don't die. Bye. And then I got on the plane, and my body was like, we got to go fly the plane. We're going to die. And I was like, hey, man, body, we don't know how to fly a plane, and we're afraid of heights, so we should probably let the pilot do that. And I was like, but if I don't, I have to sit here and risk dying. And then in a very zen moment, I was like, well, then I guess it's okay. Because you can't do anything else. And I know that feels negligent, anxiety having person. I'm speaking specifically to you, because when your brain's like, we got to figure out this thing for the job interview, or like, we got to say the right thing to this person we're trying to date, or like, we got to do this thing or our house is going to fall over. Those things would be really bad if they went wrong. Worrying about it's going to make you worse at it. And self-efficacy is the cure. So I'm not saying just do it, because that doesn't work. What I'm saying is, what's the next step? Help redirect your attention to that. And then if you learn from it, you do. And if you don't, you can't. But you were never going to do anything better than that. And your anxiety is trying to get you to like intuit from the universe to just magically do it right. And that's actually not helpful. Bodies are dumb. Don't listen to them. But you're smart. Listen to you.
Yeah. And related to that, if you don't have this anxiety thing, you're still not immune, because I'll tell you, we're social creatures. So if you hang out with people who have that anxiety thing, it can rub off on you. It happened to me quite a bit in my early goings in life. I was generally of the vibe of like, well, we'll figure it out, and if we don't, well, no one died, so we'll just reschedule, do whatever. But I'm working with an account director who's like, no, we got to make the quarter. We got to make this presentation. We got to do this. What are we going to do? What if this doesn't work? And I'm like, what are we freaking out about? Like, worst case scenario, we present it. They don't like our data. We'll come back. But for them, it was literally death. And I got to see it. And we would do a presentation. I'd do a QBR presentation with some stakeholders. And they like some of the stuff we'd present, but some of the stuff, not so much. And she was like, oh, we failed. We absolutely failed. And eventually I started trickling into me. So, oh, I have to start acting this way. I have to start being hyper anxious and whatever. And that can be a learned behavior. And I'm here to tell you, if I'm your coach, no. The only case in which I would say this might be helpful, and I say the word might in a very small asterisk right here. If you are in healthcare and it's live or die, and you are on the ground floor, you're there on the hospital, and people are suffering, and you've got to be in that fight or flight moment, I'm not here to tell you how to fucking do your job. Like, we need you. Thank you so much for all that work. But for everyone else who's not in a fight or flight, people are going to die position, which a majority of people are not in that position. I would encourage you, try whatever you can to either get away from that person, recognize that's what's happening, or put boundaries in place. Because I did not do that in my early career, and I developed a lot of unhealthy tendencies. I literally developed perfectionistic tendencies from that, because everyone else was so amped up and worried, and it was coming on to me. And it led to one of my very first nervous breakdowns that I hope no one ever has to experience.
Hey, Aval, thank you for sharing that. Be Aval. This is I get to do a fun, exciting thing now. So,
Wait. Nothing you've done has been exciting so far?
I've been phoning this shit in the whole time. I thought I was just like, I was trying to put people to...
All right, Daniel, I want you to cut the entire episode up until this point. This is now when the real
This is the real
starts,
Dark Souls.
FYI.
Yeah.
This is the real Dark Souls.
So like, there's that thing you just said where you're like, now for people in the medical community, when someone could actually die, if you're me, there's a chapter of your life where you're a therapist, just like exclusively to medical professional, just like by chance. I worked with like a handful of ER doctors and nurses just simultaneously. They didn't know each other as far as I know, but like, some of them had a really bad anxiety. And they'd be like, well, what do I do? And they're like, if I do it wrong, people literally die. And A of all, spooky, scary, good content for the amygdala to be mean about. But B of all, the answer actually didn't change at all. It didn't change at all, right?
No.
So like, let me think of an example. A long time ago, I'm in Illinois. I'm driving to Goodfield to watch a play with my sweetie and my mom and my dad. And we're just doing, it's a little lovely wintry evening. And this...
The sweetie is me
my
in this
sweet,
case.
sweet
Samothy
Samothy
in the blanket and everything. Yeah.
And I'm driving, and this guy has a really sweet car on the other side of the road, this big, giant white SUV. And he's like, ice is for fucking babies. And he's going real fast. And he just careens into the intersection, comes onto my side, and he's coming at me. At the time, I'm driving a Saturn station wagon, the LW200, absolute babe magnet. In the, like, you're raising babies, and this is a car for an early parent.
That is literally the car that you would see in a car lot that would go late at night. That was the baby making.
Don't knock it.
For sure.
But B of all, or do. But I dodged out of the guy's way, which was very courteous of me, because I kind of was like, you asked for this, but I didn't do that. And then I remember my car starting to spin, and I would see like the road ahead of me. I was like, yes. And then I would see the cars behind me, like, no. And it was like, yes, no, yes, no. And I was trying to stabilize it while dodging other cars because it's icy road.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the best I can. And I remember thinking, I have to do this right. I'm going to fucking die. And I remember turning, and I could see me leaving the road, heading towards a tree. And I was like, this is it. For the record, it's not it. I'm alive. Did I do that right? I don't know. But like, I could have fucking died in that story. And all you can do is the best you can do. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm not better prepared for it. I mean, I am, I guess. But like, you know, like, this is the really hard takeaway. If you do the best you can, it's good enough. It doesn't matter if it succeeds or not, because you can't do anything better. I'm saying a bunch of weird shit today, right? But like, if a nuclear bomb goes off and they're like, get down in a ditch, cover your head, like, that's probably not great for you, but you should still do it. Like, you should still try to do the thing that will do anything to help you, because you should always try to do a value accordant thing for yourself. And the amount of thinking to find the value accordant thing is actually very low. If you find yourself perseverating, ruminating, that's not problem solving. Sorry, go ahead.
Going back to my example, I didn't really have to think too hard about the decisions I'm going to have to make and have like, there's no, it's within my values. It's what we're going to have a conversation and all that stuff. Like, I am not dwelling on it. Like, I know exactly what I'm going to do and what I'm going to have to do and all that stuff. And that's right. It takes away your, what do the cool kids call it? Mm-hmm. Mental stack.
We do.
I hate that phrase, but yes, your mental stack is shrunk quite a bit. I don't have to think about it. I'm going to have a great weekend because I'm not thinking about it until my conversation with some folks on Monday. Like, I'm just, it is, you know, whatever it is. I'm not dwelling. I'm not thinking, am I making the right choice? It's just, this is what we're going to be doing. You said something else about doing the best you can. That's all you can do. We live in an age right now, the TikTokification of life, which I can't stand. Something comes up on your feed and tells you, here's the 5 ways to do this. Here's the way you should be doing this. Here's the strategy to do this. Here's what you should be doing. Everyone's doing this and they're doing it wrong. We are being programmed to believe that there's an optimized right way to do everything. And look, if you want to engage content and do that, and that's how you make your money, okay. But to everyone else who's listening to that stuff, that will kill you with decision paralysis. That will kill you with just being unable to actually fulfill your potential. Perfect is the enemy of good and good enough. The amount of good work the human race has lost out on because people said, I won't even bother because it's not worth trying because I'm not doing it the optimal way. It's so much. And we could benefit so fucking much from just, fuck it. It's good enough. Let's go. We'll figure it out later. We'll learn later. We'll learn from the lesson. As long as it's not going to kill anyone. Even if you're in a position in healthcare, as John says, you still have to have some kind of mental stack of, look, we've got to make this work anyway. Do the best we can. We have to move on to the next patient, because the healthcare workers that do decide to keep that mental stack as fresh as they can, that's like worrying about every single thing, they won't make it. They will not make it. In order to be a true healthcare worker that's serving your community, you have to. It sounds dehumanizing, but you have to calibrate it correctly so that way you're not doing that. So, of all the takeaways of today's episode, please go do the thing. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's optimal. Just do the thing. You can make it good later. You can refine it better. Give yourself infinite amount of time to make it better. But right now, just go do the fucking thing. And when you've done the thing, you'll have done the best you can. And that is absolutely perfectly fine.
Long ago, I'm a little baby therapist, and my boss I've alluded to before, named David Ventrelli. Once again, if he ever sees this, he's going to hate my hair so much, and I look forward to that day very, very much. But he's a brilliant therapist. I remember going to him, whoa in my heart, and I was like, David, I don't know what to do. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, I'm just worried. My client has expressed suicidality on several occasions. He was like, you made a safety plan? I was like, yep. He was like, have you told family if it's an emergency? Yep. I was like, have you told about how confidentiality will work in this case? I was like, yep. Followed protocol. He was like, cool, then you're good enough. And I was like, but what? And he's like, no, that's not yours. You can't control that. And I tell you this because ultimately, at the end of the day, like, we can't control a whole lot of things. And it's cute that humans think we can. So all you can do is your best effort. Anxiety is never utilitarian. Isn't that fun? It's never actually helping you. A level of a physiological arousal will prepare you for things better. That's true. But going, what do I do? What about this? What about this? What if I this? What if I... Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's not on the same team. That's a glitch. And to Sam's earlier point, it is lightly contagious if you don't have like some shields up against it.
So I want to wrap things up because again, we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about, and we could talk about all this stuff forever. But to wrap things up, being a value accordant person sounds like this high and mighty, sexy, super prestigious thing, but honestly, it reduces your mental stack. It reduces your decision making because the choice is always simple for you. It allows you the space to make pivots in your life that are going to benefit you in your life, as opposed to just going along with the flow and what the environment, what the world gives you. And some of us are never going to be able to make that choice due to the infrastructure that's in front of you. And for that, I'm sorry. But if you have any spoons available, it is within your best interest to try to do that in whatever way you possibly can. John and I speak not from a place of, oh yeah, we've always had it this way. This is just the way it works. No. I've literally been on the side of literally living a life that the world has given me and just suffering through it and thinking that's all I deserved. And the truth is, I'm so grateful I made it on the other side. And one of my great things is if just one person listens to this and says, okay, yeah, I can make some change. I can make some choices. I can make a pause on things and make a pivot here and there.
It's transformative. It's powerful, and it frankly feels fucking good. You'll know if it was value accordant because you'll be like, I'm glad I did it this way, even though this outcome sucks in occasional circumstances.
Because you'll have been yourself. I think that's the last piece we can say is, when you are the other person, which is you are whatever your environment tells you are, and you're trying to be a chameleon and adapt to all that stuff, okay, cool. The world wants you to do that. That's fine. Nothing feels worse than failing at having tried to be a chameleon to things. Meaning, I don't get it. World, I did exactly what you told me to do. I acquiesced to your demands and I still failed. Meanwhile, if you don't have that mindset and go, I was me. I did the best that me could do and I failed, that's fine. I was me though the whole time. That's still a win. That's still a win.
It's the core, not to be self-congratulatory, but it's the core of our podcast, and it's why we hope you hang out with us, is because we want to do the things that we believe in. We want you to find the things that you believe in. We don't want to give you bullshit answers made in a can that give us money. We want you to find ways to live a sustainable, joyful life that you can feel good on more days than not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Zero Dot Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know where to find us. We're at the zerodotpodcast.com. We're also on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon. We are everywhere where podcasts are generally. If it's not, in a place that you like so much, write into us at the zero.podcast.com. Let us know your questions. We'd love to field questions about life, about mental health, about social sciences, professional advice, whatever you'd like. We'd love to field those in. But again, let us know, hey, Zero Dot, why aren't you in this one random place that I really want you to be? We'll consider it. Let us know. We won't know until you ask. Until next time, this is Sam. That's been John. Daniel, be your best. Welcome to Team Human.
That's good. Killed it. Murdered it. Slaughtered it. Butchered it to death. Just shattered its corpse. Executed it. Violence.
You know, I don't believe in murder, but I will murder a take.